everyone, PushingUpRoses here and welcome back to my channel. What do you think of when I say Columbo? My guess is that your mind immediately goes to the murder mystery show of the same name starring the affable Peter Falk. For many people, it's difficult to name a bad episode from the show, but for those die-hard fans, it's possible. Oh yes, it's possible. And though I love this show with every fiber of my messed up heart, today I might discuss it with a saltier, more hard-boiled tone because, in my opinion, this is the worst episode of Colombo. Allegedly. God, even the title font is bad. There's a very specific reason as to why this episode is quite different from the others, so listen until the end and everything will be explained. For now, let's dive into the murky waters of Columbo Undercover. Oh shit, guest starring Ed Begley Jr., the Cup of Joe side of dough guy?
And we got the Cup of Joe side of dough for $99.
We begin with a Burt Reynolds looking dude breaking into someone's apartment. Nice lamp. Anyway, he appears to be looking for something important, which we learn is not in these shoes. Yeah, fuck these things. Fuck this drawer. Fuck this pillow. Fuck this and that too. I mean, was it necessary to shove the stuff out of the medicine cabinet? It's obvious nothing is in there. As the man admires some sick modern art, the apartment inhabitant comes home. And when I say comes home, I mean it. Before the guy can enter, the thief finds something in the forbidden paper towel roll. The door opens and he immediately turns off the light because if you can't see him, he's not there. Suddenly, shots are fired and we have a double homicide. The landlord called in the shots and she is suspiciously unshook.
The one with the knife in his throat. That's Mr. Dillinger. J.J. Dillinger.
His name is J. Dillinger. I swear if his name is John, I'm going to go feral at this script. In this episode, Colombo is assisted by another man, a character named Detective Brown. They take a brief statement from the landlord and inspect the body. They are also joined by two members of the FBI.
What's a guy wearing an expensive Italian leather jacket doing in a place like this?
Is that a pickup line? Colombo finds a weird-shaped piece of photograph in the thief's pocket.
What does it look like to you? Belly dancer at Harrods.
I'm sorry, what? You think this looks like this? Sir, you need therapy. The next morning at the station, we're introduced to Irving Crutch, who introduces himself as a life insurance investigator. Colombo asks why he's here.
Lend a hand, or maybe vice versa.
Afoot? He tells them he read the story about the homicide in the paper and is interested in the piece of photo, claiming he has another piece. Colombo is still confused, so he tells them this story about a robbery from 6 years back resulting in $4 million stolen from the NSLA or the National Savings and Loan Association. He then shows them photos of the men involved, who are all currently deceased, and says the money was never found. He shows the detectives a list of names who might have the other pieces, and one of the murdered men's name is on that list, which was what sparked Crutch's interest when he read about him in the paper. He believes that the photo pieces, once assembled, will show him where the location of the money is because he couldn't find it as the lead insurance investigator on the case, and that squashed his rep.
We finally settled the claim in full. $4 million. Hello! That was bad. I don't have to tell you how bad that was.
Despite Colombo's blasé reaction, he decides to go on the case since it is connected to a homicide. The first location is of Eugene Urbach, the other guy who died in the apartment. They find the photo piece immediately, like so fast it's unbelievable considering they're looking for a scrap of paper in this huge apartment, but hey, this is a long story, we gotta keep it rolling. The next lead is Mo Weinberg, another shady character connected to the robbery who has a piece of the photo. Colombo is instructed to change his clothes so he doesn't look like a police officer. This is your disguise? Discreet. I gotta say, this dialogue is driving me nuts. It's just so empty.
You look like a cop.
So do you.
How do I know you're not?
How do I know you're not?
But how do I know you're not? Colombo introduces himself as Artie Stokes. I guess he called Mo prior and invited him down, saying he has info on the puzzle pieces and the names involved. Intrigued, Mo tells him to meet him at his apartment the next night. Holy shit, did keyholes used to be that big? That's insane. Colombo knocks on the door and what follows is very un-Columbo-like, so brace yourselves. Armed with a gun, Mo invites him in, but instead of entering, he pushes a note through the door that reads, "You're a horse's ass." then breaks in while Mo is reading it. You're a horse's ass. Really? The grammar's not even right. Where is the apostrophe to indicate the ass is indeed the horse's? Is Columbo calling him multiple horses' asses? Columbo is also armed and acting aggressive, which is a very uncharacteristic display of his temper. He famously did not carry a gun. He was meant to be more of a laid-back detective. He never approached suspects with violence or force. He was known for his observation skills and his persuasive way of interrogating the suspects.
I'm just trying to tie up loose ends. You see, I'm compulsive that way. It's just, well, that's what my wife says about it, just...
Are you really?
Seeing him like this in this episode is weird and frankly kind of icky. As Artie Stokes, Columbo is able to disarm Mo and they quickly agree to work together again. Now what's a little violence between two men, huh? They discuss their two puzzle pieces, yeah, and are they about to kiss? Why are they standing this close? Mo was able to give an address to another person on the photo list, and now Columbo has another lead. On top of that, he was able to swipe Mo's piece of the puzzle. Next on the list is Geraldine Ferguson, who owns an art gallery in the city. Listen, I need to tell someone this because it's really been on my mind. I think that this hat is the ugliest hat I have ever seen. What in the world is that? Someone really did just stick a brooch on a felt beret and called it a day. Geraldine, or Jerry, catches on to Columbo's game and says she actually doesn't have the photo.
Yes, she does.
This is Bramley Kahn, Geraldine's assistant, who wants Columbo to pay an exorbitant amount of money for the piece. Jerry doesn't want to sell it, so Columbo tells them to call him once they decide what they want to do with it. Later that night, in his hotel room, Columbo gets absolutely pummeled by an unknown assailant. It is bizarre to see him just get his ass kicked. This is not common for this show at all. He is found by Detective Brown, who sends him to the hospital while he goes to find Mo Weinberg, the person with the most motive to want to kill Columbo. Ah yes, hospital. Hospital is such a good hospital. Unfortunately, the puzzle pieces he had collected are now missing, presumed stolen by the masked assailant. Columbo doesn't want to stay until the next morning, but the nurse takes his trousers to prevent him from leaving. In a pretty tense scene, Detective Brown finds Mo Weinberg dead in his apartment. Columbo calls Brown while he's at Mo's apartment and tells him to meet him at the hospital with some pants. So in an attempt at comedic relief, we get to see Columbo in some weird, wacky pants. Columbo, sponsored by Zubaz and Miller Beer. Since Mo is dead and the only other person who knew where Columbo was staying is Crutch, the suspicion now falls on him. He has a lady friend named Susan who confirms his alibi for the night. Columbo's next lead is the widow of a former mafia member, so he decides to visit her in costume. Wow, those legs are whiter than bleached chalk. Anyone need to white balance their camera? Let's speed things up. The lead that Crutch gave him earlier turned out to be a red herring. Brown investigates the art gallery and finds the other piece of the torn up list. Jerry won't hand over her piece of the photo, even though Columbo tells her she might be in danger. Jerry is dressed like Debbie from Addams Family Values.
But, Debbie, what? Pastel?
This wine looks like Ecto-Cooler. Columbo changes his clothes again, and for some reason I can't figure out, the cops make these blown up copies of the torn note pieces. Why? You couldn't just put the two pieces together? Why did you blow them up? Columbo meets with a police officer named Zeke, wanting information about the parking rules in front of Mo Weinberg's apartment building. It seems weird now, but it will come back. Whatever the rules are, they cannot be as complicated as Chicago street parking signs, which state no parking unless it's below 2 inches of snow on Sunday, only between 8 to 10, and then 3 to 7, but only with permit number 1423. The next lead is a sex worker named Dorothea, and what follows is one of the weirdest scenes just ever in a Columbo episode. He attempts to flirt with her as he asks her about her nephew, one of the guys in the robbery who gave her a photograph piece. He also bribes her with some money and they share a drink as some sleazy music plays in the background. The tone is so bizarre and there's a lot of laughing. After some painfully slow pacing, Columbo is able to find not just one piece of photo, but two.
Looks like Donald Duck.
What is wrong with these people? This guy thinks this looks like a belly dancer, and this woman thinks it looks like Donald Duck. This writing is fucked. The episode then strongly implies that they bang, even though Columbo is married and very frequently mentions his wife throughout the show's duration.
I have to thank my wife for one, because she's mad at everybody. She's even mad at the ice cream man.
When a case gets too tough, I gotta talk to my wife.
My wife would love this rug. My wife, my wife. My wife, my wife.
My wife.
I'm all for Colombo, getting some, but it is so weird. Despite some of the original pieces missing, the police made copies and blew them up, so we have this almost complete image. Unfortunately, they still have no idea what the heck they're looking at. Columbo and Brown go to Geraldine's art gallery to break into her safe for another puzzle piece. They find Bram fainted on the ground, and when he comes to, he claims,
She's dead.
Bram is acting sus, so with a bit of force, Columbo gets him to admit to being the masked man who assaulted him. He just wanted all the pieces to himself. To avoid an assault 1 charge, he tells them that Jerry's piece isn't in the safe. He grabs it from the back of a painting and hands it over. It looks like a snake. The piece makes it obvious that the picture is of a street next to a body of water.
This photograph was taken from above. That's why there's no sky.
Very good, Detective Brown. LA's finest, everybody. Columbo is still focused on Crutch though, convinced that he has something to do with it. He claims he has an airtight alibi for the night Jerry was murdered, and it will be verified by his lady friend Susan. They interrogate her, and she sticks to the story of never leaving Irv's apartment and Irv being there the entire time. Suddenly, Columbo invites the officer from earlier, Zeke, into the room, and he appears to be carrying a sealed up witch's broom.
This is a parking meter.
Ah yes, ye old parking meter. For all those Gen Zers out there, before we had pay boxes, we had parking meters, where you would insert payment in the form of small coins. Archaic, really. Columbo asks Susan about her and Irv's alibi for Saturday, the evening Mo was killed. You know this guy. I know, it's a lot, bear with me. He was shot around 5:30. Susan says they were at his apartment from 1 to 7 and never left.
Would you now show the young lady what you got in the bag?
Yeah, that'll show her. After an overly complicated explanation of how parking works, Columbo says that the coins emptied onto the table were inserted into the meter outside Mo's place between 1 and 6. And one of those coins has Crutch's fingerprints on it. Knowing she is utterly fucked, Susan changes her story and admits Crutch left his apartment on both nights of the weekend.
That rotten witch.
I mean, yeah, that's what the broom was for. Defeated, Crutch hands over the last piece. What in the world kind of shot angle was that? Did we really need to see this guy pull a photo out of his crotch?
This is the 8th piece.
Very good! Another brilliant observation by LA's finest. The 8th piece shows the location of the money. So this guy's arrested, and the next day, Detective Brown and the FBI members get a boat to search for it. Yay, they find it!
This is it! And it's all free!
Wait, no, it's not free. This isn't your money, my dude. You know that, right? Columbo decides to go to the dog park.
I'm gonna take my dog to the park. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo? What?
I don't know.
Ah, yes. This episode fittingly ends on the line, I don't know. That's the last thing you hear. Brilliant. Not only was this episode confusing, it was so out of the realm of being the traditional Columbo episode, filled with violence, Columbo using aggression, and even dropping a slur in the middle of the episode, which was very jarring. It also has characters that don't show up in normal episodes, and dialogue that just isn't very good.
You look like a cop.
So do you.
How do I know you're not?
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 Columbo's behaviors here are wildly inconsistent to his already established character, and the plot resembles more of a police procedural novel, and that's because it is a police procedural. This is one of 2 episodes that were adapted from author Ed McBain's 87th Precinct series. Peter Falk had actually gotten the rights to those 2 books at the suggestion of a friend, and I just gotta know, who was this friend? I just want to talk to them. Undercover was based on his book Jigsaw, a slightly racist, more gruesome crime story than the typical Columbo script. When I say slightly racist, I mean that Detective Brown's last name is such on purpose, and it's as weird and cringy as you think it is. His books were also known to have some sexist undertones, though I will credit the episode with not leaving those parts in. They could have really jabbed at the sex worker, Dorothea, but in the end they made her charming, so much so that Columbo smooched her. I think murder mystery plots have the tendency to become chaotic and complicated even when they are well written, so imagine this poorly written one with too many characters, too many motives, and colorful pants. absolute disaster. While this episode is regarded as one of the worst in the series, the worst, if you ask me, some people think that the one that came before this one was worse. It's called No Time to Die, and I don't recommend it. The reason I enjoyed this one the least is really how mischaracterized Colombo is. He's cynical, aggressive, stubborn, and he gets knocked out cold, which is one of the most unhinged things I've seen in this show. Even more unhinged than these pants. Colombo is usually very charming, with an earnest cadence to his voice. As I mentioned before, he doesn't believe in violence or force when he interrogates people.
Boy, this is a fantastic rug. My wife would love this rug.
He often befriends the suspects he's investigating and tries to connect with them on a personal level, even going as far as joining one for dinner in the classic episode, Any Old Port in a Storm. His personality is largely what makes the show so enjoyable and the character so lovable and distinct from other television detectives.
I'll tell you, Mrs. Ferris, I'm the worst cook in the world. But there's one thing I do terrific, and that's an omelet. Even my wife admits it.
This version of him just doesn't have any heart. It actually hurts my brain to see and hear him like this.
Mo, you had an accident to your head when you were a kid, or you were born retarded?
Hopefully this gives you a good idea on why it's my official worst episode of Columbo. Though I am willing to hear your thoughts on the other notorious Ed McBain episode, or any other episodes you deem as the worst, or just outright bad. Definitely write me in the comments, and if there is an episode of Columbo you are just dying to see me cover, leave a suggestion. Anyway, I'm sorry that I exposed you to this, and until next time, happy sleuthing. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video on the worst episode of Columbo. I hope you enjoyed it, even if the source material is really a pile. If you want to see more from me, I have plenty of videos on this channel, but before that, I gotta thank my lovely patrons for supporting the channel. If you want to support me, please consider a small pledge, otherwise, likes, shares, and comments are free. Unlike that money they found in the episode, which was not free. You can also follow me on Blue Sky or Instagram if seeing art and reading my inane thoughts piques your interest. If you want to see another Columbo review, please check out the video on the right, which is a breakdown of the series as a whole. If you're interested in what's been going down in my personal, non-murder mystery related life, check out the update video on the left. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.